Thank you all for coming to the last session of today. Hope you've had a very good day. That's my very proper teaching voice. Would the panelists like to introduce themselves and confirm that your name is actually above your head?
No, it's okay, Dan. You can introduce us all one at a time.
No. Here are 5 people who are going to talk about cybersecurity. There's 1 person, 2 person, 3 people. There you go. That's my introduction. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Cool, I guess I'll start then.
Yep.
My voice is absolutely knackered at the end of the day, so forgiveness. I'm just general for speaking on it. There's no story. As you can see on the board, my name is Mel Scott. I work for that security company. My big boss, Eliza. She's a bit of a menace at this industry, to be fair. A little bit of background about myself. I've been with this company a year. Otherwise, I've done about 15 years worth of professional security. So, I suppose that's on.
My name's Holly. I break into computers for a living.
More about my computer. Hi, Sam Humphreys of XP, but also the Happy Games. So I'm here with my screws and my side chick. 25 years in cybersecurity and recovering incident responder.
My name is Ian Jarrett. I'm the CTO of Citation Cyber. Actually, around 11 years ago, Dan was my tutor, the Masters in Lancaster. Loved it, never really left, so got half this year. Expanded quite a bit now. So yeah, it's been really great in the side of it.
Hiya, Andrea Cullen. I'm the co-founder of Capslot. Been in cyber for over 20 years. That's shocking to say out loud. Back before it was called cyber, designed and started one of the first master's programs actually in 2004. Snappily called Internet, Computer and Systems Security. And it's
Awesome, thank you very much. So, first question, without naming any specific brands or technology companies, if you had a magic wand, what would be the one thing you would change about the cybersecurity industry?
Can I immediately jump in and take that?
Yes, not passwords advice.
Elitism and fascination with all things military. We see headlines all the time about things like ethical hackers are launching cyber missiles against adversaries. It does my head in. Even things like times red team, blue team come from things like the US Air Force. I get it, we want to be cool with things like that, but we don't have to say things like the front lines of the cyber war. Absolutely kills me. And from an elitism point of view, it's things like how we romanticize red teaming above everything and somewhat look down on the blue team, sadly. It kills me. We're not in competition with ourselves, we are all on the same team. So my magic wand is slamming down heavily on elitism.
Anybody else?
I've got microphones, not buttons.
Yeah.
I think that kind of binary between what people call soft skills, I hate that term, we call impact skills, and technical skills, like it's an either or that was a clear delineator between one and the other. Actually, the skills, they're valuable, and they're all important. So I think I'd get rid of that.
Okay, so I've got a microphone. It's along similar lines, but it's some of the stupid petty shit that they argue about. Like there was an argument in the week about should CISOs be technical? But seriously, I'm like, what do you mean by technical? Right?
They have hard skills.
Yes, exactly. I mean, it's like putting down a bread roll in this room and asking you what it's all called. I will leave that there.
Coming from a military career of 12 years, stop fucking doing military shit in this industry. Pisses me off.
I only did 6, so I'm half as angry as now.
I think I'm going to be a bit more practical here, but so in terms of when we are testing organizations and they're actually able to fix the things that we find so that we can eliminate a lot of the vulnerabilities. And also the obsession with certifications as well. I think that's another one.
Yeah, no, thanks. All right, well, let's take the microphone.
During my initial conversation, the entry level for this industry needs to change. Legit needs to fucking change. Please. Most of you in the audience, I don't know what to do, I don't know where to go, whatever. Make the fucking entry level easier. There's a load of people who want to work that will fucking work. Please.
Are they technical?
No, it's really good. I think sort of the way the industry is presented, it really puts off a lot of people. Like, we've been doing for a long time, not work with schools, and it just, that the perception of the industry is often just an anathema to them. They just don't want to get engaged with it because of the way it's presented, not just by the community, but also on TV and other media, which is all about, hopefully, the hacking games will fix for us. So, talking about the talent point, nice segue, very well queued up. How do you think we should be developing the talent we need going forwards?
Immediately on this. My team is personally cultivated. I realise that might demand a lot of my time as a team leader, but it's time I'm willing to put in because of my team. It's my name on the team, so that's kind of like the way I would work around that. I would rather cultivate talent than have it there to hold, basically, if you get what I'm saying.
To your point, Dan, I think presenting our science species for SEGA also starting early on. So even like that sort of primary school stage, so we listened to a project with Digital Schools Lancashire around creating cyber tales and making it a bit more interesting for kids to be able to look at it from another lens. So absolutely starting at the beginning and having that sort of approach where you're able to take people in without any actual real experience and giving them the experience and developing them as they grow.
I think this is something that I personally struggle with because doing a lot of cross-day events like this, people often ask me, like, how do you get into cybersecurity? And I think the difficulty is identifying that the words coming out of their mouth aren't necessarily the question that they want the answer to. So they may be in fact saying, how can I get into cybersecurity? And they'll start me down a big long rant about my military experience and I did a master's degree and things like that, and that's not actually what they're looking for. So I think sometimes it's just that awareness of this person who is engaging with me, what is the question that they're actually trying to ask me? And if they're asking things like, how did you get into cybersecurity? Of course, those personal stories are important and inspiring is important, but explaining to them that there's a different way. There are many, many paths. So I think, just some personal awareness is possibly next.
Yeah, I think most people who you speak to say they work in the sector fell into it somehow. I don't know many people who actually woke up one day and planned it. It kind of just seemed to happen. I think removal of the smoke and mirrors as well. I think it can be an incredibly warm community. In terms of developing talent, I think it's making, for people who are kind of entering into the sector, it's actually making use of those networks and the people actually want to help you. And just becoming involved. I think get rid of the smoke and mirrors, all the acronyms, all the problems, break it down into what it actually is a job. It's a great job. It's 600 different great jobs. There's probably something in it for everybody, and it's sometimes just kind of niche. I'm not thinking she's got the perfect route. Everybody, I think, just kind of bumbled along, meandered into it somehow.
I think a horrible answer to that question. There's no value to anyone, other than I think it's quite funny. That I was a travel agent, so kids go and be travel agents, and you will have a fantastic 25-year career. I mean, that's not how it does. Because you do find a reason like that. I mean, I was a travel agent for a cybersecurity company, and I happen to know a bit about computers. So that's the real truth, is that I had a computer when I was 4 years old, and none of us have time machines. But the truth in this is that not everyone is going to follow the university path, and nor is it right for them. And for those of us who want to cross-train into the industry when we're older, even taking time out or the cost involved to go back to university at a later date just doesn't work for everybody, nor are we all academically inclined. Does that mean we have nothing to offer? Absolutely not. There's so many routes in. And I think back to what you said about certifications, back to what you said about, you don't have to come from a military background, you don't have to be a travel agent. But I know one other person who's also a travel agent. Nor in this room. Tracy Sherpa, that lady, was also a travel agent. Yes. See, actually, I was wrong, I'm sorry. We have to think of other ways in to get kids in, to get adults in. And it can't just be, well, have you got these 17 certs and have you been to university for 74,000 years? Thanks very much.
Okay, so given all of that, one of the things I boringly track is the jobs market, because students coming on the course want to know about what their jobs and future careers are. And there is a massive band of jobs that specify 2 to 3 experience and no jobs at the very low, like entry level, right? So everybody's saying we need lots and lots of talent, but nobody seems to be providing the pathways into that employment. How do we solve that problem? That's not on the list of official questions, so I'm just interested to know.
Let's carry on.
Yeah, of course, yeah, just keep going.
We've overcomplicated stuff. I think you've decided to make the SOC, especially, and other jobs in security, almost too difficult because you have to understand those tools, or you have to be a qualified database admin to be able to get in and join out log files. And if you can't do that, then I'm sorry about you, you can't possibly come work in this room because how the hell will you add value? So we've got the wrong tooling going on, we've got the wrong constraints on people around metrics and what's expected, and we've got this mad gatekeeping mentality. We're not going to see anything change. So it's got to be a combination of things. So even if it's getting people in to come and shadow for a day and just getting their experience, one day at a time, rather than saying like, no, unless you've got 10 years of experience that you can't ever get, you can't come and start work as an entry-level person. That logic is incredibly flawed.
I think for me, it's just being back to basics and looking at the person's ability and the work ethic that they want to be there and to commit to the learning. So when you're going through the process, whether the graduate or the experienced person, you're probably willing to put the work in to be able to go on the journey with the organisation. I think it is difficult for an organisation like ourselves where we've got clients who want testers who have to have certain badges and experience and things like that. You're in a difficult position. But I think the approach which we're now taking and people should do is actually build for the future and have an academy to start the journey early on so that you're molding them and being able to prepare them and getting ready for the role that you want in your organisation.
I think there are multiple ways to kind of get in as well. You said there are no entry-level roles. I think there are entry-level roles, but there are also mid and senior-level roles. It's not kind of diminishing your transferable skills as well, kind of acknowledging that they add value, and you might be entry-level into certain elements of cyber, but you've lived and you've got other work experience to bring. I also think there are multiple ways to do it. You can do it in your way, in a way that suits you, and don't let anybody tell you it's wrong. Whatever that way looks like, there are multiple ways. It's finding a way that actually works. But I think there are pros at all levels, but it is, like you say, that kind of link of you need 3 years experience to go into an entry level role. I think the whole recruitment process at times is difficult for people in that field.
I think one of the things on that point would be more open to the idea of collaboration. I think something that Zane mentioned there about people liking to hold certifications and be like, look, this pen tester has all of these certifications. Be more open to the idea of teams being involved on projects and things like that. We don't need individual heroes. It makes it easier to hire those junior positions, the entry-level positions, because you don't need somebody who can do everything. If that person can contribute to a team, then that's a better way to open up those positions. And when I speak to pen testers who work at pen testing companies for the most part, sorry about being so limited, I am a pen tester, so I can only speak on my experience. Very, very often they work solo, projects are individual, and being more open to collaboration. Hey, maybe putting 2 people on. That also applies to the business side of things as well. You don't necessarily need to look for unicorn candidates who can do everything. You could hire 2 people for that role that have different experiences. Do that. I think we have maybe a little bit of a problem on the business side of things where we have 2 people's worth of job to do, but we will put 1 person in that role that work them to burn out. I think those 2 things are maybe related.
No?
To touch on this, I think events like this and networking play a massive part in securing those entry-level positions in the industry. They are few and far between, but it's happening so quick. To speak of recent experience, the most recent addition to my team has been someone who has new cyber experience. And it's a transfer from a different industry in this. And he did that, he connected with me, and I got an interview, and that was it. It wasn't biased, there was other people on the interview panel other than me. But that was basically how we managed to land the job. Because we got that entry point from myself to get through that process a little bit. Not necessarily guaranteeing his interview, but get him the shoe in the door. So networking events like this, where you're speaking to people who might not be hiring at the minute, but will eventually put those entry-level jobs out in the market, is a massive starting point, a massive tipping point in the right direction.
That's great. I mean, sort of from my own perspective, thinking about the students that have come through and the programs that we've got here, you're right. I mean, you don't need a university. Don't listen to all the students here. You don't need a university degree to do this job. But you just need that creative curiosity, that urgency to solve problems that are in front of you, that willingness to really dig into the problems and combine all that knowledge together to come up with something cool, right? That helps you fix that challenge. But it's interesting looking at the industry. I was speaking to a large industry company, and they'll say, we want graduates to have these particular technical skills, and you must produce these particular technical skills. And I'm like, no. But like, we want to instill that kind of creative problem solving. I spoke to the same people literally a month later, and they went, no, not those skills. They need to have these skills, right? And I'm like, they're on a 3-year program. Like, you can't come to me every month and change what you want. And I think there's often that bit of disconnect between. One of the reasons why we have that disconnect is the industry changes its mind so quickly about what it wants when people are committed to a 3-year program. But moving on, Holly mentioned burnout.
You're welcome.
Thank you. It's almost like you've seen the earlier questions earlier. I mean, it is one of the things that I have seen with some of my previous graduates and just generally kind of widely reported in the industry, that it can be high pressure job, leading to a lot of burnout. And some of that comes from, or I think, feeding the fire of that passion, right? And overburning it, if you like. So you're just pushing those people too far. How are we going to get around that as an industry and a community? What should we be doing?
Amazingly, I'll jump in on this. So, burnout for me, right? It plays into a lot of different factors. So, mainly it's communication. Knowing the limits. Managers know the limits of their team, and then the business having the capability of giving those teams the time to either recoup or go on a lesser kind of responsibilities level. It's that, but spread out times a million basically across the entire industry is what needs to change. Those are just massively individual topics, but it's a combination of those things. Again, it depends on how your company plays it and what your capabilities are as a team and what your job is. The team to essentially, and it's not the same as the easy part with a baby. So to facilitate.
I think as well, on top of that, I think it's a real cultural issue, and it needs to change from the top down. I think if you can see your boss and your boss's boss clocking off, making sure they're saying that these hours, I might work late, but they don't have to be your hours, there's no expectation. I think making that really explicit, because people need that balance. Otherwise, like you say, you can burn out in no good time of it. But actually, ethically, it's not the right way to go. I think having that, I'm all about role modeling, and I think having somebody visible who will stand up and say, I am going at 4:30 to pick up the kids, or I need to take this time off to do whatever this is, and having that person in a senior position saying that loudly and making sure that that is the culture you want, I think is super important.
Encourage people to be able to define themselves by something outside of this industry. If your entire personality is focused on your job role, your title of this industry, you will burn out. That's it. We actually see this in the military as well, where people join the military and being in the military is their entire personality. It will end badly. Don't really care what it is. If you like anything, if you want to join Mountain Rescue, or honestly, anything other than staring at a computer until you're furious, you'll have problems. And the reason I chose to encourage, because of course we can take that as an individual value, something we can look at ourselves, but exactly what you were saying there, people look up to other people in the industry, people look at their peers and those kinds of things. If we are encouraging other people to get a freaking hobby that doesn't involve chatting at a computer, I think we'll get to a better chance.
I think that the organisation also needs to take some power for this as well, because if you're investing in right processes and setting the right expectations with your partners and peers, making sure the meetings aren't overrun, just simple things like that, and being realistic about deadlines is always going to rules, but it's the headlines, right? It's going to be inevitable, but just having that expectation can also go a long way as well. And keeping people alive and providing support to all of the staff and the colleagues as well. But have that support, if they are feeling that way, then they can reach out to someone that can see how people are.
This might sound a little controversial, but yeah. We've also got to own the problem ourselves, right? We can say yes, organisations need to give us time, we need to make sure that they're presenting the right role models, but at the same time, like, truly switching off. Like, when was the last time any of you truly switched off? Like, went for a walk without looking at your phone, left your phone at home. Nice. Points to Gryffindor.
There's something about being slightly older
Yeah.
that we probably do.
More
I
so.
probably have seen the burnouts, have seen the people.
They're going to switch off now. I'm going up a walk without the phone. It's true though. It's really hard to do. We think if we put work down and go play a game, or sit telly on, or doom scroll our phones, that somehow we switch off. And your stress chemicals don't go down. You live with this kind of steady state for a lot of like, we won't peak and we get to go here again. But actually let it to be now. And it can take a minute. This is going to sound a bit stupid, but stay with me. Because I've got an executive coach. It's not his real name, he's just a mate of mine who does quite good neuro coach stuff and he's pretending to laugh. Right? Go and stare at the wall for 1 minute. You'll think I'm batshit saying this, but look at the wall. Right? Every time work tries to squeeze its way into your head, push it back. Push it back. It's like being cleaned out. Just let that stress go down. If that's all you've got time for, just to try and switch off just for 1 minute, give it a go. Maybe not in the street, but start at home, see how you get on. When he said to me, I was like, yeah, shut up, mate. What are you talking about? It really helps. But if you can take 20 minutes, you can put that time in your diary. If it's 10, just to get out and look at the outside world.
Put it into your work diary.
Yeah, no, I have. I literally have done it. And also, if you're doing everything, you're doing nothing. I was guilty as an expert at multitasking all the time. Where you can, I know it's not easy in every job. If you can start a task and finish a job, feel much better. If you can't finish it in, like, say, 90 minutes, just leave it in mid-sentence, so you can kind of get that feeling back and pick it up again. If you've got 57 minutes open, and you're like, oh shit, there's an email, a text, and the telly's going, and you're on a call, you're also trying to listen to a webinar, you're doing nothing. And all you're doing is hurting yourself. So, like, trying to get that focus in, just go stare at it for a minute and let me know and get on. But honestly, I hope it helps.
Well, staring at the wall sounds like a slightly better strategy than mine, which is screaming into the void. So, we have a fantastic set of people here. Would somebody like to ask some questions? Yes, Rick.
So we're talking about entry level into the security industry and everything like that. Back in my day, about a decade ago, the debate was there is no clear pathway into security. And now that universities such as
I'm not a university.
sorry, people at universities such as that, have made clear pathways, and we've got organisations that are setting up kind of chartered pathways, akin to things like chartered architect, chartered engineer. Why is that now a problem? Why is now having a degree in that career path now such a problem? Why have we come full circle and say, no, actually we need to diversify pathways into security?
Okay. Throw back on these. It may be linked to what I mentioned earlier in regards to elitism, where although we have worked very hard to develop multiple paths, we, for some reason as an industry, always have to find one that we can hold at the top and say, this is the correct path, this is the one. So I think it's maybe just something around that fact that we're constantly looking to get one true method. That's my view. What about you guys?
I would say as well, if you're only looking in one place for one type of person, that's all you can get, one type of person. Actually, there are so many different people, and cyber is I guess, a society problem as much as anything else, and solutions that represent society. So I wouldn't say university is wrong, but I would say it's not relevant. That's a Holly's point, really. Because that is view of you have to have that to be able to do that. I think there are multiple ways to do it, and each way is just as valid, and it brings that diversity and it brings different ways of thinking and novel and interesting solutions. So I would say it's not wrong, but not the order.
I believe university degrees as a necessity in the workplace is a very old-dated principle. And again, jumping on at the fact that we've come so far and I've had so many different pathways into it now, there's almost slightly on always been about elitism at schools with graduate degrees, where again there is that expectation for you to have those 2-3 years experience, but it's to say your degree isn't those 2-3 years experience, which I mean will be that point, that's not usually what businesses are looking for. But for me, my perspective, it's very limited ahead, but that would be where I would go with that. Or at least that would be where I would go to make the industry more accessible or easier to get access to with a graduate degree. If that's the nature of the problem.
I think it's probably the Chartered Institute will release the kind of a career path. And I think when you look at a solicitor or accountant or those kind of professions, they're looking to standardise the cybersecurity profession. So there's like a clear view of how do you get from A to Z. Because there are organisations and partners as such who want to do that. There's a consultation gone into those processes where they can't say this is what we think is the right path. So yeah, it's one of those where it's not the only path, but at least there is kind of standard way of doing things. But the journey into cybersecurity can go for work. So
I do think some people seeing something drawn out as an option for them makes sense. But if we then say that is the only route, and then we're expecting diversity across as many chapters of diversity, then we're not going to get it. We're going to get very specific because cookie cutter people coming through. And what this industry needs is creativity, it needs diversity of thought, it needs diversity of background, ideas. You can't solve a problem with the same mindset that created it. Same mindset. It's really important that, so that is an option, but be a travel agent. I mean, turns out that is the way forward. At the same time, university doesn't work for everybody. It just doesn't. Exams don't work for everybody. Some people can be super smart and be creative and really understand the concept. If you stick a bit of paper in front of them, their brain is going to turn to mush. But they can still absolutely be part of this industry and will bring something different to the people who look at exam paper and just be like, duh. So, yeah, we've got to have different options.
So I'm just going to wrap it up. I'm just going to observe. You all talked about the people coming through. I don't think the standardisation and certifications are actually about people in any way, shape or form. It is about the industry waking up, not the cybersecurity industry, the wider industry waking up and saying cybersecurity is important, but we don't understand it. So what signals can we find so that we can get good people to come in because we don't know how to assess what is good. And then we look for other things like certification. And then ultimately, when somebody screws up a test or something and doesn't find a bug and a plane crashes or something, where are we going to get the insurance from? How are we going to, how as an industry can we protect against those types of failures? Because if a building collapses, you can sue the architect, right? Because they weren't chartered or whatever it is. And it's not about the people coming through. It's about the industry consuming our services.
Can we have a show of hands if you have any kind of degree or are on path towards a degree? Any kind of degree, I said that word. That's surprising.
Yeah.
That's
I
surprising.
did it away because I just saw a lot of hands out.
Yeah, that was basic everybody.
Yeah. Anyone not?
So we say 90% yes to that question. That's surprising.
Right, well,